Okay, so here we are. Just finished turn 3. Turn 3 was a mud turn, so what that means for the game here is that pretty much everything stops. All you can really do is, refit your aircraft, bring in some supply via the sea. You can't via air because there's no flight on mud turns, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So both sides brought in some reinforcements and a little bit of supply, and just flipped some of their units to their combat mode side. So probably gonna have a bit of a battle, whoever gets initiative here on the next turn. So I think I'll roll for that now. We'll do 4 dice here. The Germans will be the reds and the Allies will be on the whites. So we'll see what happens. And we've got Germans. Wow, lucky. And they'll definitely take it. I need to bolster up the defenses, so we'll roll for weather first to make sure we don't have another mud turn. So we'll do the 10s. 53, so we're fine. Alright. And, oh, actually, yeah, we have flight still by 1. Alright, so flight, and we are now on the 26th of November. Alright, so we'll check back in after the Germans have done a little bit of movement. Okay, so here's our situation at the end of the German movement phase. The Germans fortified this line behind the river here at Matur. Just kind of want to hold on here. It looks like it should be strong enough now to withstand, well, hopefully withstand whatever the Allies can throw at it. Now, since the Allies focused a lot of their attention towards the north here at Bizerte, what the Axis have done on this turn is pushed a force to the fairly unprotected south, and are going to try to blow a hole through here and cause some problems. Now, they failed their aircraft barrage here, so we won't have a DG, so the Germans are going to have to decide whether or not they want to attack without that. They've got some decent force in here. Still, the Allies have a decent stack as well, so tough choice there. I'm going to have to think that one over. Also failed a barrage here on the units in Matur. A 12-point artillery barrage, just aimed at kind of holding the Allies down, DGing that unit, and kind of meaning it wouldn't be any influence on the next turn, or the Allied phase of this turn. But they failed that as well. So we'll have to see what we can do. I really want to capture this hex because I've got some reserved units here that I'd like to kind of push through the rear of the Axis area there. There's a recon battalion and a motorcycle battalion, and so they'd be able to maybe not do a ton of damage, but at least threaten the rear of the Allies. Okay, I'm going to mull this attack over and we'll check back in. Okay, so the Germans have decided not to attack here. Really was needing that DG. Should have probably held these units in reserve and only moved them forward had we gotten the DG. What we're going to do is just leave the units in the back here in reserve, just to respond to any situations that may arise during the Allied turn. And this still should be able to hold, and shouldn't be in much danger, but it could be threatened to be DG'd by the Allies in their half of the turn. So a bit of a failure there, I guess, but the Germans really don't have a lot of artillery to count on at this point. So the Allies are going to have to be wary though, because 10th Panzer just came in, almost all of 10th Panzer, so definitely going to cause some problems. Yeah, so this definitely won't hold unless the Allies fortify it, so we'll see what happens in the Allied turn. Okay, just about to start the November 26th turn as the Allies. I'm just going to show off all the reinforcements they've got coming in here. Some fairly sizable stacks. This stack here was actually from last turn, but because of the mud they weren't allowed to move. And we've got a whole ton of French units here. American 1st Armored's coming in, and there's some artillery and a truck point here. So now that we've got some truck points actually coming onto the map too, and some more units and some mobile units as well, I think what we're going to attempt to do as the Allies is flank the German positions, taking advantage kind of our road networks here. If we follow this road up to just behind our lines here, they can kind of jump across here to the rail line and then take that rail line, and there's some detrainable hexes here that can be used as a source for trace supply, because these railroads trace back all the way to their supply source. So where that's going to put us is just to the south of Tunis and threatening the rear of the German position. So that's a little scary for the Germans. I didn't realize how much force the Allies had coming onto the map this early, so we'll see what happens and we'll check back in. Okay, so here we are we're in the German reaction phase at the moment. The Germans just released some reserves to move up to the front line. They did so because US forces had amassed in the south there and were going to attack across the river at the parachute battalion. So they released the reserves to reinforce that position. British tanks and a French infantry unit actually moved across the river into a rough hex. We're going to attack from there. Failed a DG on a barrage on the parachute battalion before or during the movement phase, but the Germans still concerned about that position. The Allied reinforcements, most of them are back at the start here in reserve, so we'll see what we can do with them. And pretty much, I don't know, all the same along the front here. There might be an attack here or there. We'll see how some barrages go, and depending on supply I might not make any, or I might just do one. Feeling pretty nervous as the Germans right now, with there's a lot of force hitting the front line here, and then whatever's going to swing around. Actually, yeah, the French headquarters and some other French units here have moved in strat mode, so they're going to be threatening next turn. And there's a whole bunch of French infantry here that also moved in strat mode. They'll take a little while to move up still, but the Germans are going to have some problems on their hands right in this area quite soon. Alright, so we'll finish up the Allied phase now. Or Allied turn, I guess. Okay, so here we are at the end of turn 4. The Allies did end up moving those reserves up into a flanking position. So the initiative roll is going to be really important here. The Germans do have some elements of 10th Panzer in Tunis here that could respond. Really going to have to hope that the Germans get the initiative here, though. The Allies were going to make an attempt to attack the Witzig Kampfgruppe here, failed a barrage, attempted another barrage. No, we didn't attempt there. We attempted here to hold down this 10th Panzer recon and the infantry with it, and failed that barrage as well. So a lot of wasted ammo this turn. I think we'll do the initiative roll now and see what this is going to have in store for us. So we're Axis on red, Allies on white. This is an important one. Oh, the Axis win the roll by 1. Wow. That is insane. Okay. Huh. 10th Panzer might end up punishing these units here then in move mode. 10th Panzer's fairly strong. Take a look here. Got a few strong units in here. Let's take a look here. These are the units that came in this turn. We've got a anti-tank battalion 447, a 658 Panzer battalion, and a 758 Panzer battalion. So these could do some real damage to the Allies there in move mode. The Germans are able to hip shot as well, so it could give some real headaches. Especially when you consider we've got some strat mode units back here as well that are unprotected right now. So this game can turn so quickly. I think the Germans are fairly confident in the strength of their line now, so they may be a little more willing to explore options like that. And if they can be successful in those attacks, God knows what can happen back here. So a little nerve-wracking now for both sides, I guess. This game is just fantastic so far. I really don't know what's going to happen from turn to turn. Would have been interesting to see where we'd be at without that mud turn, but I think all told it's really been fun so far. So okay, I'll roll for weather while we're here too. Red on the reds 10s and the whites the 1s. So 52, that's fine. Okay, so we're flight again, and we go to November 29th, and the Axis will play first.